Good morning. It is Wednesday, August the 6th. Here's what we're working on this morning. There are lots of questions about studying the Ontario government was doing for a tunnel under Highway 401.
Air Canada flight attendants have voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate.
And the American League leading Blue Jays go deep to win over the Rockies. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's kind of fresher this morning because of a breeze.
It's the breeze, yes.
Yeah.
It's when we get a northeast wind off the lake in Hamilton, that's a cool wind coming off the cooler water of the lake. So you feel that, oh wow, that's not bad. But the temperature is warmer this morning. Yeah.
It just doesn't feel that way.
It doesn't feel like it though. Yeah, because we have a temperature right now of 20 with a humidex of 28, but it's that breeze that makes it feel a little fresher. So we'll take what we can get, right? Yes, exactly. And actually today, interestingly enough, there is a chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. I know lawns are parched, gardens are just so dry. We could use a shower, but there is a possibility of a shower or thunderstorm today and for the day tomorrow as well. Slim chance, but it is there. But today, a temperature a little bit cooler, 24 degrees. We're going to have a humidex, of course, in the low 30s, but a bit of sunshine today, but once again, now the special air quality statement has gone, but there's still some local smoke hanging around, so we could see that today, tonight, and tomorrow as well. As I said, temperature right now is on the warm side at 20, humidex of 28 already. Talk about that in a few minutes. Shall we check traffic? Why not? Let's have a look and see what's going on. 403 and Waterdown Road, nothing to see there. It's looking pretty good. One place I've noticed we do have a real slowdown, and this is at the QEW Ontario Street in St. Catharines. So you're looking at Toronto-bound lanes heading away from us, and that to me looks like lingering construction. So a little bit further along, you can see we've got that blockage with the blocking vehicle, but the left lane is blocked through there. That's really all that's going on. Red Hill Creek, nothing. North of 2 off the Skyway, a bit of volume, but not very much. So no collisions right now. We'll look at weather and traffic, of course, coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Well, Ontario Premier Doug Ford had already been exploring the idea of building a tunnel under Highway 401 as far back as 2021, but then the plan was quietly shelved.
We're doing a feasibility study, so the feasibility study will come in and we'll be transparent, but I'll tell you one thing, we're getting this tunnel built.
That was a clip from the Premier last year. CBC News has obtained documents through a Freedom of Information request. They show a detailed study had already been done, including cost estimates and technical designs. Despite the early work, the findings were never made public, and it's unclear why the project was halted. Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie on X is calling for the Ford government to release all of the reports on the tunnel, saying, quote, Ontarians deserve full transparency. What did the study find? What are the costs, the benefits, the environmental impacts? Why bring it back now? Ford's plan would place a tunnel from Mississauga to Scarborough, touted as a way to cut traffic gridlock and boost the Ontario economy. The Premier previously said traffic congestion costs Ontario $11 billion a year. In April, the government issued a request for proposals for a study to determine the feasibility of a tunnel under Highway 401, but that study isn't expected to be finished until 2027. Now, Premier Ford is set to hold a news conference today along with his transportation minister. You can visit our website at chch.com to watch it live at 10 o'clock this morning.
Changes are being called for in the St. Catharines parking lot where an 8-year-old boy was killed last week. Niagara Regional Police are still investigating the incident at St. Catharines Kiwanis Aquatic Center. Last Thursday afternoon, a boy was hit by a car in the parking lot and the driver stayed on the scene. There's now a change.org petition to install a vehicle barrier between the center's walkway and parking spaces. The petition says the existing posts in the area aren't enough. The GoFundMe campaign has identified the boy killed as Thomas Kunst Locks. His twin brother was also at a camp at the aquatic center that day.
Support has been overwhelming after an attack on horses at a boarding and training facility in Niagara. Last week, 8 horses were stabbed at Eagle Wing Ranch. It's in a rural area outside of Welland. One of the horses died. Another was sent to the Ontario Veterinary College in Guelph for treatment. A GoFundMe campaign hoping to raise $10,000 for vet care has now reached nearly $50,000. Organizers of the campaign say they'll be able to clear vet bills, install a security system at the ranch, and help the owners out with revenue loss.
A Hamilton man has pleaded guilty after a woman in her 80s was sexually assaulted. The attack happened during a break-in at 20 Place in Mount Hope in May of last year. 20 Place is a gated adult community. Hamilton police say a man broke into the woman's home in the middle of the night. 27-year-old Nelson Mello was arrested 3 weeks later. He'll be sentenced next month.
A 14-year-old girl from Stony Creek is missing. Hamilton police say Ava DiGiamateo was last seen by her family around 7:30 yesterday morning in the area of Henley Drive in Stony Creek. She may have taken a bus to Dundas, arriving there around 10 a.m. She's white, 5'2", with a medium build, brown eyes, and long brown hair, possibly back in a ponytail. She's believed to be wearing a gray sweatshirt and shorts. Over 10,000 Air Canada flight attendants could walk off the job later this month after union members voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike mandate. Their union, the Canadian Union of Public Employees, says 99.7% of members voted in favor of a strike mandate. The strike vote indicated workers are prepared to strike, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they will walk off the job. The union could issue a 72-hour strike notice as early as August 16th, which could disrupt Air Canada flights if a deal isn't reached. One of the biggest issues in the dispute is when Air Canada flight attendants' pay starts. Right now, it begins once the boarding doors are shut, and it stops when they open on arrival. The union wants compensation to begin with passenger pre-boarding. Air Canada says it is eager to resume discussions and is determined to reach a fair and equitable collective agreement. An investigation is underway into a cybersecurity breach at WestJet. The Office of Canada's Privacy Commissioner says the probe will look into the security safeguards WestJet had in place at the time, along with the adequacy of its notifications to affected individuals. WestJet says the safety of its airline operations was never under threat after confirming a sophisticated criminal third party was able to gain access to some personal and travel-related data during the cybersecurity incident that happened in June. And Porter Airlines is expanding flights out of Hamilton International Airport. They will include Porter's first U.S. flights out of Hamilton to Orlando and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Porter flights to Orlando start December 12th, and Fort Lauderdale flights will begin the next day. There will be 3 weekly round trips to each. This adds to Porter's recently announced sun destinations from Hamilton to Cancun, Puerto Vallarta, and Nassau.
Sportsline. After struggling in their last couple of series, the Blue Jays are probably asking themselves, can we play the Rockies all the time?
Hit deep, right field, into the night sky and the upper deck at Coors Field. My goodness, a towering shot from Varsho, the Blue Jays' third homer of the inning. It's 7-2.
Dalton Varsho launched a pair of 2-run homers and added a 2-run double as Toronto trounced Colorado for the second game in a row. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Addison Barger led off the 6th inning, hitting back-to-back home runs, while Nathan Lucas added a long ball of his own to lead the Jays to a 10-4 victory. Jose Barrios allowed 3 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings and boosted his record to 8-4. The first-place Jays go for the series sweep this afternoon. The Ticats have made some roster moves ahead of their home game tomorrow night against BC. With Gordon White out with a left shoulder injury, Hamilton has signed long snapper Simon Chavez, who has spent some time with Toronto, Ottawa, and Winnipeg. Hamilton also inked former Elks and Argos running back Kevin Brown. They've also released defensive back Brandon Dozier. 6 years after the Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship, the last remaining player on that team has now left the organization. The last to go is Canadian Chris Boucher, who has signed a one-year deal worth $3.3 million with the Boston Celtics. The 32-year-old spent the last 7 seasons in Toronto and leaves as the franchise's all-time leader off the bench for points, rebounds, blocks, and games. He played in 50 games last season and averaged 10 points per game. Brantford Bulldogs have signed Czech forward Adam Benok. The Dogs selected the Minnesota Wild prospect with the 2nd overall pick in the CHL import draft. The 18-year-old center spent last season with the Youngstown Phantoms of the United States Hockey League. Vanessa Borovilos of Etobicoke shot a 9 under 63 at the U.S. Women's Amateur Golf Championship. That's the lowest round in the 125-year history of the event. She is 7 under, 1 shot behind 3 others, and now advances to the match play portion of the event. The 19-year-old is going into her sophomore year with Texas A&M women's golf team. After a decade at Tottenham Hotspur, Heung-min Son has agreed to a contract with LAFC, finalizing his move to Major League Soccer. The 33-year-old South Korean star forward is joining LAFC 3 days after he formally announced his decision to leave Tottenham. LAFC reportedly paid a transfer fee of more than $20 million, which is the most ever for an MLS team. LAFC will formally introduce Son at a news conference today. Seattle Kraken forward John Hayden and the team's blue-haired troll mascot had a close call with a brown bear during a promotional video shoot in Alaska. Hayden and the mascot named Bowie were on a fly fishing trip in June to promote youth hockey when the bear approached. Knee-deep in a shallow river, the bear charged toward the mascot but turned away before making contact, thankfully. Brown bears commonly eat salmon in Katmai National Park, which is about 500 kilometers southwest of Anchorage and inaccessible by road. The bronze bust of Olympic gymnast Suni Lee that was on display in Minneapolis Park has been stolen. Police say they pulled the display's granite plaque from a nearby lake, but the bust itself has been missing since last week. The bust of the St. Paul native was unveiled in 2023. Lee has won 6 Olympic medals, including gold in 2020 and 2024.
Okay, here we are, the Wednesday morning, 6th of August, and we're looking at fairly hazy skies once again. More smoke in the atmosphere, and we'll talk about that in a second. But first of all, it's traffic. 403 and Waterdown Road. It's busy already, but still moving okay, so no problems right there. Coming out of Hamilton, it's a little busier than the other side. Let's go to our MTO traffic cameras, see if we can pick up what's going on. Yep, you can see the construction truck, the blocking vehicle, is backing up along there, picking up the pylon. So construction is coming to an end. It was really slow here a little earlier because they had the left lane blocked, and that's QEW Ontario Street in St. Catharines. So getting back to normal there. Nothing at the Red Hill Creek. We'll check north of 2 once again, coming off the Skyway Bridge. Looks good. Quick check of the Ford plant. Not a lot happening at volume or collisions this morning, so all moving nicely, even here at the QEW in Dixie. Okay, let's get to our temperature at the moment. It's a little milder this morning than it was yesterday, but we've got that breeze. The temperature right now is 20, and that factor in the humidity, which is 100% right now, so it's fairly misty. It feels like 28 already, but we do have a north-northeast wind coming off the lake at us at about 20 kilometers an hour. And yes, there is again, more smoke in the atmosphere. But the air quality risk for the day today isn't quite as high as it was yesterday morning, so it's come down to 4 on the moderate range. It's going to be that way for the afternoon as well. We have an approaching instability from the west, and we could get a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm today. Okay, we'll take it because everything needs a little bit of moisture. We could get that, but we could get some hazy sunshine for the day today as well. So the smoke is back. It's localized smoke once again. Temperature's a little bit cooler, particularly for Hamilton, 24 degrees, otherwise 28, 27, depending on where you are. Tonight, temperatures once again back down to 19 for Niagara, but 16 degrees, a little cooler for the overnight, but the smoke will linger. And then tomorrow, once again, the smoke will be with us. We'll have hazy sunshine once again tomorrow, 28, 29 degrees for the day tomorrow. Some areas could get a slim chance, a very slim chance of a shower. But out the door this morning, yeah, it is fairly hazy, partly cloudy. There's local smoke once again. Temperature right now, 20. Long range coming up. And that, Rick.
Okay, in the short range, after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what she has to come in Chit Chat. And in business news, the federal government's ramping up efforts to support Canada's lumber industry, the softwood lumber industry, in the face of U.S. tariffs. Time to say good morning to Emily with a preview of what's to come in Chit Chat.
Hi, good morning. There is a brand new category coming to the Juno Awards. We will discuss, and a lot of people I think will be very happy about it, and it's kind of about time. I hope I didn't give anything away there. George Clooney is teaming up with Adam Sandler in a brand new movie that looks fantastic. And later on this morning, the Toronto International Film Festival has revealed its lineup of international films, including a Canadian remake of the hockey classic Youngblood.
Finally.
Shot in Hamilton.
The world has been waiting for this.
Okay, thanks very much, Emily. Taking a look in overseas trading right now, our dollar is up 4 basis points to 72.62 cents U.S. Gold is down almost $15 an ounce. Crude oil is up almost $1 to $66.13 a barrel. Midday trading in Europe, markets are up in London and Frankfurt and Paris as well.
Over in Asia, markets were up in Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai. And on North American markets, the TSX closed up 549 points yesterday. The Dow fell 61, and the Nasdaq lost 137 points. U.S. stock futures are up in pre-market trading as corporate earnings take center stage.
Federal government has announced supports for Canada's forestry sector as trade tensions with the U.S. Continue. Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising an aid package for the industry that includes a $700 million in loan guarantees, $500 million for long-term supports to help companies diversify export markets and develop their products. Carney also says the government will introduce a training program for workers, which will include $50 million for the forestry sector.
Canada's new government has a strong mandate to get big things built faster. That means millions of more homes, major new ports, new trade corridors, new energy projects. And as we build bigger and faster, we will build Canadian. The fourth pillar is to launch new initiatives to deepen and diversify international markets for Canada's sustainably sourced forest products. These will include reinvigorated federal programs to market innovative, sustainable, high-quality wood products.
Now, during this announcement in BC, Carney also says he has not spoken with Donald Trump recently and that he will do it when it makes sense.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to visit Mexico for his own meeting with President Claudia Sheinbaum. Finance Minister Francois-Philippe Champagne and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand met with the president and business leaders yesterday. Champagne says Canada is looking around for trade partners it can trust during a trip he later described as being very successful. Anand says the bottom line is there is momentum building in the relationship between Canada and Mexico, adding they are making sure it will stand the test of time. The Canada-U.S.-Mexico agreement on trade, known as CUSMA, is set for a mandatory review next year.
Canadian trade with the United States picked up a bit last month despite tariffs, and this is largely because of higher energy exports. Statistics Canada says exports to the U.S. were up 3.1% in June compared to May, when the country's trade surplus with the U.S. expanded to $3.9 billion from $3.6 billion. StatsCan says that's because imports rose less than exports. June marked the second month in a row that total exports were up just a little bit, coming off the biggest drop in nearly 5 years in April as early tariffs took full effect.
The NFL and ESPN have reached a new media rights deal. The non-binding agreement will give ESPN ownership and control of the NFL network in exchange for a 10% equity stake in the Disney-owned company. ESPN will also license additional NFL games, NFL Red Zone, and NFL Films programming from the league. Meanwhile, the NFL will continue to own and operate NFL Films, NFL.com, and the official NFL team websites. The transactions are subject to further negotiation and approvals, including by NFL team owners.
Hey, we are taking a quick break right now. Brian is going to be back with your traffic and your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
Okay, we've made it to Wednesday, hump day. We're looking at 624 right now, and some MTO traffic cameras as well. And as usual, this time of the morning, nothing happening at the QEW Glendale in St. Catharines, top of the Skyway, still moving nicely. Same with Burl Oak Drive going from Burlington to Oakville. Here's Mississauga camera at Erin Mills Parkway, and we'll check the 403-407 split through Mississauga. No problems at the moment. Temperature in Hamilton, well, we're warmer than we were yesterday at this time, but that bit of a breeze helps. Temperature right now is 20. We actually have a humidex already of 28. 21 Mississauga, Toronto, and for Grimsby. So seasonal temperatures this time of year still 26 and 15. Sun times for the day today. Sun, well, yep, sun just come up. It's waking up slowly. And we're looking at chance of a shower or a thunderstorm today. By the way, those are the records for today, the 6th of August. Still have some smoke. Not quite as pervasive as it was yesterday. It was all around, but eastern Ontario getting a little bit of a break right now, but there's still some smoke evident into southern Ontario. You will notice that, at least as far as the Horseshoe is concerned for today. Today's temperature a little bit cooler than yesterday, but still a humidex of 32, so 24 today, and there is that chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. It's a slim chance, but it is there. 16 tonight, local smoke tomorrow, smoke again, hazy sunshine and 29. There's that chance of a shower on Friday. Once again, a slim chance at 27. Beautiful August weekend. 28, 29, sunshine both days, and then we get into clouds, chance of showers for Tuesday. That's your forecast. And that, Rick.
Okay, so this is wintertime in Australia, and the eastern part of the country has been hit with the heaviest snowfall in almost 40 years.
Actually, it's a very surreal experience. I've always dreamt about going to the snow. I've never seen snow before in my entire life, and it really is a surreal experience.
A cold front dumped up to 40 centimeters of snow on parts of northern New South Wales, stranding more than 100 vehicles and knocking out power to tens of thousands of homes. Snow even fell in parts of Queensland, the first time in 10 years. Locals and visitors made the most of snowy conditions, enjoying snowball fights, building snowmen, taking photos, one couple even getting engaged in the winter wonderland.
Oh, it's a taste of what's to come.
Yeah, they could keep it, is what I say. Oh, we'll be there soon enough, I guess.
We'll be there soon enough, yes.
Stay with us, more to come after the break, including news about a carjacking in Hamilton.